Hey guys, we're in here at Lowe's. Got to get some hardware and wood for this coffee bar redo or remodel, whatever you want to call it. And we got the wife doing that part. We're gonna get some chalk paint, black chalk paint, some 2x6s. I'm gonna join 2 of those and make 2 floating shelves. Got to get some all thread rod and some epoxy. Let's get all that, guys, and get home and get with it. So first off, guys, we took and measured out 41 inches. Their shelves are 40 inches, but I'll cut them to final size after I get them glued and screwed together. Cut all of our boards to length. Pulled the table out of the way. Any of you guys who work in a small workshop, comment below how much you enjoy that. I usually have to put my table saw outside while I'm working and then bring it in when I need it. Put it back out when I'm done with it. As you can see here, I cut them down to 5 1/4 inches. A 2x6 is 5 1/2 from the store. Cut a 1/4 inch to get a square edge off one side. So on the front board for both shelves, I cut that one edge off a 1/4 inch. And then for the back board of each shelf, because I'm joining 2 boards together, you rip another 1/4 inch off, so that backboard will be 5 inches total, and you want both edges square on it. Once I finish that, I move the saw back outside so I have room to work. Then we get our Kreg pocket hole jig out and start screwing some pocket holes in these. You just need 3 or 4, you don't need many. Just the glue is actually what will hold it, but the pocket holes hold it. That way we can go ahead and stain them and stuff. Here I am kind of finishing up the edges and get them where they fit nice and tight. I actually found that little sanding head that goes on a grinder, and it removes a lot of material with a low grit sandpaper. Then we just drill those boards together. Then I take that angle grinder with that sandpaper head on it, and I just rough up the top and make it look, you know, rustic. I think it's 40 or 60 grit sandpaper, so it removes a lot of material and it really gives it a good look. We do the same thing to the second one. A little bit more wood glue. Take your glue spreader, which is your finger, and spread that glue out. Screw those 2 together, and then you have yourself 2 floating shelves. There's still a little bit more work involved, but you got the base shelves now. One thing I can say about that angle grinder with the sandpaper though, it really makes a mess. Then we're going to take these shelves and cut them off at 40 inches or final length. We'll get a nice square end on both of them. Apparently I used it as a guitar for a minute. Now we're going to take, and this is Puritan Pine Stain I stained these with. We're just going to go ahead and go over them one last time with the 220 sand grit paper. That's not how you say that. We're going to go over these again with 220 grit sandpaper, and then we'll just hit them with a coat of stain. I'm not going to poly these or anything. I don't care if they get roughed up and beat up. You know, it's the farmhouse look. I actually intentionally beat them up some so they would look rustic. But we stained both sides. I didn't stain the edges or the back because they won't be visible. But if your floating shelves were to be out in the open, where you can see the ends and stuff, then you would stain the ends and the edges. Then I'm getting my all thread. I measured, and I'm drilling 2.5 inches into the wall, 1/2 inch through drywall, and 2 inches into the stud. And so then I'm gonna have about 6 or 7 inches into my actual shelf itself. And so I cut those the appropriate length, and I hit the edges down to make them good and smooth. If your woman can paint and make cornbread, you got a good. Now I'm measuring to see actually where I want the shelves, and I ended up deciding at 22 inches on the top one, and the bottom shelf, and about 35 inches on the top shelf. I marked all that out. I actually removed that little piece of strip that they put on double wide drywalls. I removed that strip, and that's going to be the point where I put the top shelf. Take a piece of blue tape and mark where I'm going to stop drilling the hole in the wall. That gives you a positive stop, so you know where to stop at and you don't drill too far. And I know you guys noticed that the actual all thread is on the left side, and there's not a piece on the right side. There's not a stud on the right side, but that don't make any difference. These ain't gonna have anything super heavy on them. If you were doing a bigger shelf, you need to kind of even those all threads out. And this method of doing it, you do need to drill into a stud. So I just used the stud finder to find them. I marked the center and measured to where the holes need to be in the shelves themselves. And I drilled the holes in them. I applied some epoxy on the ends of that all thread and just shoved it in there in the wall. Then I get the shelf up there and turn it the right way, and just beat that shelf right on that all thread. And guys, I mean, these shelves are super strong. I mean, like I said, that's just 2 pieces of all thread in that, and I would be perfectly comfortable with putting 30-40 pounds on that shelf. So after I get that good and level, I'll let it set for a few minutes, and that epoxy will harden in the wall, and it'll be good and sturdy. Here I'm just marking a level line at 22 inches where my bottom of my second shelf will be. And then I'll mark the holes where I'm actually going to drill into the studs. And then we'll just drill good and straight about 2.5 inches into the wall, into both studs. After we get those drilled, then we'll have to put the epoxy on the other pieces of all thread. And then we'll just, well, actually I vacuum those holes out first to make sure there's nothing in them, no sawdust in there. And if you turn that all thread as you're putting it into the wall, it'll keep the epoxy from just getting pushed off. The turning motion will just suck that epoxy right into the wall. Just put the shelf on and beat it on there. Level it up good. It should be level left to right if you put your all thread and your holes in the right place. But front to back, you can pull up or down and finish that and get it just right. And once it sets up 5 or 10 minutes, it'll set up pretty quick, that epoxy, and it'll be level forever. And then the wife comes and touches up the paint, and after she gets this paint touched up, you'll be able to see her decorate it. Now we have some other stuff ordered to go in this area, but we're going to use what we have right now for decorations. She's going to add some other stuff to it. I just screwed those little hooks we got at Lowe's you seen at the first of the video, 5 of those. Put them 5 inches apart in the center out. So we hung those cups there. Good morning, guys. It's a beautiful Sunday morning here in southeastern Kentucky, and I'm going to be doing the ending for this video. I hope you enjoyed the video. I really think it turned out great. I love that black contrast in our kitchen. To me, it looks just wonderful. You guys leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Hit that like button. I do appreciate you watching. And as always, just keep building, guys.